Hey Copycat Quilters, this is Ginger. Welcome back to my channel. I have a little something different today. I want to show you some cute ideas I have for Christmas or holiday cards that you can make using your tiniest scraps, even those scraps that are tinier than you can use for crumbs. So enjoy watching, and maybe you can get some inspiration for holiday cards you can create. This first card was really easy to make, but all of these are. So I just used regular cotton sewing thread in the bobbin and in the spool, and had a normal size 70 needle. I cut scraps into shapes that were kind of triangular shape or pointed shape, and then just started at the bottom, stitched around, made a little base or trunk, and then just added scraps. So I laid my scraps from biggest at the bottom to smallest at the top, and then started stitching from the top and would just run lines down to the base and back up. So keep stitching until you have the number of lines that you like, and then you can put a button at the top to act as a star. Okay, this is a fun card. You can take the tiniest of scraps that you have, and I just started at the top and started stitching lines down and would lay a scrap and continue sewing and back and forth. I did find out it was easier to turn the card around at the bottom than to try to stitch backwards, but there's really no right or wrong to this. This was just a lot of fun, trimming up little scraps, laying them on the paper, and stitching over them. Once I got the scraps laid down with the initial stitches, I did go back and go a little bit wider and make sure that I caught every little corner or every little piece. And I actually did a little bit of trimming after I finished too, of pieces that were sticking out and kind of weren't in the shape of the tree like I wanted. One thing I learned as I was sewing these was to put my trunk of my tree first and then start laying the scrap, doing the other piecing, so that it would look like the branches were hanging over the trunk instead of the trunk sticking in front of the branches. And I had a little problem with my tension on this card. I was using green thread on the top and did not realize my tension was off so bad. So I will go back and add a piece of cardstock behind that, or even just a little sheet of paper glued down so that you don't see all those ugly green loopy things where my tension was off. I made 3 cards like this. One I added bigger and more scraps onto, and the other one I just used some fun colors. For the next cards, I cut strips about matchstick width and just lay them on the table, and I started sewing lines of them across the card, starting at the bottom and working my way up to the top. So it was just like pieces of fringe. I did sketch out a little outline so that I could kind of stay on track of how wide I wanted the tree to be, but this was really just add strips and add strips and add strips and sew them into rows. This was kind of tedious, but it was also kind of fun because it made such a cute card. So after I sewed rows and rows and rows of the fringe, the tree turned out like this. I think this one is really cute. I love playing with the fringe on it, and I think it's just very happy. At the end of the video, you can see I put a trunk at the bottom, which I should have done before I started, and I also added a beautiful green glass button at the top to act as a star. So have you seen those Pinterest fail pictures on Facebook? This card was a little bit of a fail, but I wanted to show it to you anyway, just so you know it happens. I ended up with this card I really don't like, but I think I might actually try putting some bling on it and making it just the equivalent of an ugly sweater, make it an ugly Christmas tree. So here are some of my cards. These are the two fringe cards. You can see on the left I have the green button, and on the right I just cut yellow strips and put them in every direction to make a little star at the top. These are my little bits and pieces trees. I like how they turned out. I think I'm going to go add some buttons or things at the top to make little stars, but I haven't decided yet. And this is the first tree that I showed. I like how this looks very traditional for a tree. I used a bright yellow button at the top, and I think this one is just sweet. It may be my favorite, even though I did like the bits and pieces one, and the fringe one too, so it's kind of hard for me to decide. Now, some of these cards may not look all that great to you. They certainly don't look perfect, but I think for people who I send the cards to, they know me well enough to know that I put love into them, and they don't mind if they're a little quirky or whimsical. So why don't you give it a try? Make some up. Lose your self-consciousness about it and just be brave and put it out there. And I think people that receive these cards will feel the warmth and love that you put into them. Thanks so much for watching. Please like and hit that subscribe button if you would like to see more videos. And of course you can comment below and tell me, do you like to make traditional cards? Do you just prefer to buy cards, or do you even send cards anymore? I know I have a very short list of people that I actually do send cards to. I hope you and all the people you care about have wonderful holidays and enjoy sharing time with your friends and family.